Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at this DC Direct Return of Superman Kryptonian life suit, or as some people call it, the recovery suit version of Superman, long hair and all. Now, this particular line of DC Direct, this one was dedicated to the Return of Superman, but they did this particular type of card back for several Superman lines. DC Direct did. I believe this was mid 2010s-ish, maybe early 2010s. I don't exactly remember. It's been a while, but needless to say, about 10 years or a little more ago, they put some of these out. I really like this card back. I think it looks great in this one because it is dedicated to Return of Superman. You can see we've got Eradicator, we've got the Superman, we got Superboy, we got Steel. I do believe we also got a Cyborg Superman in this line as well. I don't know why he's not on the card back, but I do believe we got him as well as a part of this. This was a really cool line. I like it a lot. That Steel actually is one of the best Steel figures that has ever been released. I would like to get a hold of it because if I do, I'm going to do a video on that and show you how good that thing is. But finally picked this guy up, got him for a good price. We'll talk about that towards the end. Let's go ahead. We're going to crack this open and see if this is a figure that works well and still fits in with a modern collection. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so got him out of the package here, and he doesn't come with anything. It would have been nice if he came with like his guns from that storyline and that kind of thing, but he doesn't. He does come with a really nice, like high gloss, shiny, red Superman base, but that's pretty much it. Now, we'll go ahead and talk about the figure as far as articulation goes first, because I know that is one of the things a lot of people don't like about these older DC Direct figures or DC UC figures or a lot of the older stuff that's out there on the market, because they want the latest and greatest when it comes to articulation. That does not really concern me for reasons I've talked about in other videos. So what we've got here is we've got standard back and forth on the legs. We've got single jointed knees. We do have thigh rotation there. We got, standard back and forth on the ankles. No torso articulation whatsoever. As far as the arms go, we do have a little bit of an up there. And then, of course, we do have full rotation around there. And then you do have a bicep swivel there. Single jointed elbows. Okay, don't come up very far. And then rotation there at the wrist. Okay. And then, of course, we've got rotation on the head. It's technically on a ball joint, so he's got a little bit of movement there, but not much, mostly because of the hair. But really, really basic, simple articulation scheme. Not a lot going on there. That's going to turn some people off. That's fine. However, the figure itself looks phenomenal. I mean, this looks straight out of the comics that I read in the 90s here. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, just as far as the overall look and styling of the figure. Head sculpt looks great. I think they did a fantastic job on that. I love the raised shine on the emblem there. We've got the bracers there, even the little touches there on the toes. I think this is just really, really comic book accurate and looks fantastic. But I do want to do some comparisons here, because one of the things about DC Direct is between all their lines, they were really bad at scale. DC Direct did everything from figures that seemingly were true 1/12 scale, like right at 6 inches, all the way to stuff that was pushing 7 inches. And so that is something you want to take into consideration when you're thinking about picking up older DC Direct figures. They were all listed as 1/12 scale, but sometimes they were wildly different depending on the particular line, whether it was their Justice League line, like this with their Return of Superman line, their other Superman lines, some of their Batman lines, their Trinity line. They really didn't have a set scale for a lot of the stuff they did, so you have to be careful. So I want to do some comparisons here, compare him to some other figures in my collection so you can get an idea of where this guy might fit in for you. Okay, so since this is Return of Superman, we do want to compare him to some other characters from that storyline. So on the left here we have a Mafex Steel figure. On the right we've got a DC Universe Classics Cyborg Superman, and you can see the scales are a little bit all over the place here. I think the Steel figure would work in pretty well. Technically Steel, because he's in a suit, should probably be taller than Superman, and he's not. but I think those two still work together. The DC-UC Cyborg Superman, to me, doesn't work at all because, I mean, essentially Cyborg Superman should be the exact same size and stature as Superman is, since he's essentially kind of cloned aspects of Superman's body. They really should be the same size. So, you know, if it comes to DC-UC stuff, doesn't really work. Mafex stuff, I think you can fudge that in there. I think that does work, even though I would want Steel to be a little bit taller. All right, so here we have him up with, on the left, we've got the DC Multiverse from Mattel, Lex Luthor in his power suit. This was a Build-A-Figure. I absolutely love that figure. I think he looks great with that one. And then to compare him to another recent pickup I got, the DC Direct Trinity Series Superman. And very different stylings there between these two Superman figures, but as far as just overall height and stature and whether or not they look good on a shelf together, I think it definitely works for either one of these as well. And then lastly, I just wanted to show it up compared to a custom Doomsday that I did out of a McFarlane Devastator figure, just because this is probably, you know, how I'm going to display this, or at least I'm going to display these two figures together. So yeah, this was a McFarlane Multiverse figure that I did a custom of my own Doomsday figure out of. I have kept it in my collection, even though I've gotten rid of pretty much all of my McFarlane figures. This one I still think works really, really well with 6-inch scale, which is why I kept it. And I think this looks absolutely fantastic together. I think this is a great size comparison here as far as being comic accurate between that custom Doomsday and that Superman. I think this looks fantastic. All right, so let's talk about price and whether or not it's worth it. I picked this dude up, I think it was $17.99 on eBay. I think I paid around $5 or $6 shipping. So I paid under 25 bucks for this figure right here. Is it worth it at that price? For me, absolutely, hell yes, it was worth it. I like it. I think it works great for what I'm going to use it for. I think it is just a fantastic, you know, just look as far as, you know, what I want for that kind of recovery suit Superman for my display. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. Again, articulation is old school, man. You know, most of these DC Direct figures from, you know, the last 20 years or so are not going to have the greatest articulation. If that bothers you, then these figures are not for you. However, if like me, it is not a deal breaker. You know, if like me, you grew up with 5 POA figures back in the 80s, like this still has more articulation than that. I'm okay with it. Then I would say at that price, you know, paying less than 25 bucks for this guy, brand new in package, you know, same price you're going to go pay for anything else at retail right now. Hell yes, absolutely worth it. I love it. I'm happy with it. You know, is this a $40 figure? No. Would I have even paid 30 bucks for this? Probably not. But at that, you know, $25 mark, if I can get out with paying for something new in package that's older for what it would cost me to get something new in package today, I'm okay with that. I feel like that's acceptable. So, you know, for me, a lot of times that $25 mark is kind of where I draw the line. This one was definitely under that mark. So yeah, definitely happy with it. Think it's worth it. And as you can see, for my purposes, I think it's going to work really good in my collection. Will it work good in your collection? I don't know. That's for you to decide, but hopefully I put enough examples up for you to make that decision for yourself. But that is it, guys. I appreciate you watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this guy. And always remember to enjoy your collection.